Our configuration is going to be to set up the Azure Service Bus and the communication between the transaction microservice and the account microservice. So make it a little bit bigger, and we're going to set up the Azure Service Bus and the communication between the transaction microservice and the account microservice using async communication through the Azure Service Bus using queues. This part is gonna be set up later. Right now we're just gonna focus on the Azure Service Bus and messaging between transaction service and the account service. Before starting, we need to know some basic concepts. So the first thing is that the Azure Service Bus, there are some parts that you need to know. That there are two things the service bus is gonna use to send messages. One is the queue and what is the topic. Some parts that are involved in the communication is the publisher, the application that is gonna send the message. The queue, in this case, the queue is gonna be in charge of sending the messages to a queue, and the message is a serialized object that is gonna be sent through the Azure Service Bus and the queue. And the subscriptor is the one who is gonna be reading the messages from the queue. Let's go directly to the topics because it's the one that we are gonna be setting up. And in the topics, the difference is that it can have several subscriptions with the same message. So in queues, when the message is read from the queue, the message disappears. And as you can see, the queue it is in charge of saving the message. The same in topics, we have subscription. In the subscription is like a queue, a separate queue where it's gonna be storing the message, and the topic is in charge just to send the message to the different subscription. And so the publisher is just gonna send the message. The message is gonna arrive to the topic. The topic may have rules, so not every message is gonna be sent to every subscriptions. It might have rules depending on the subscription, and this is gonna send the message to the subscription. The subscription is gonna store the message as the queue, and then the subscriber is gonna be in charge of reading those messages from the subscription. And basically that's it. That's how it works. So let's start by setting up the queue on Azure. So let's go to the Azure Service Bus. Service Bus. We're gonna create a new Service Bus. We are gonna create it in our resource group that we've been using. Namespace, is gonna be unique. So Azure Service Bus and my name, and east is okay. And in this, the minimum we have to use is standard, because basic only manage queues and standard started managing topics too, and topics is the one that we are gonna be using. Why? Because we're gonna have multiple subscriptors. In this case, and this is the publisher, the transaction, and we're gonna have multiple subscriptors, and subscriptions too. I mean, we need one subscriptor per subscriptor. So we have the Azure service and the movement process. So that's why we're gonna be setting up the topic. Let's go back here. This is okay. Go to networking. This is gonna be a public access. We don't need any of these. Check it up and create it. So as we said, we're gonna have a topic. We're gonna have a setting up the service bus, and if you remember in the graphic here, we're gonna need a topic, we're gonna need subscriptions, and the subscriptors. So this is exactly what we're gonna be creating right now. So we already created the Azure Service Bus, and right now we need to create the topic and the subscriptions. So that's what we're gonna be doing. Okay, it was quick. Go to the resource. So the first thing we're gonna be creating is a topic, and I already have the names here. Transaction topic. Max size, okay, 1 GB. I'm gonna let everything as it is. There are other options that we can enable depending on our needs. By now, we don't need any of these. This is fine. Sure, access policies. This is how we are gonna be able to access our service bus. For that, this is gonna give us an access key, and the primary connection string, this is the one that we're gonna be using to connect to our service bus. So let's copy this one and just keep it here. Let's go to the topics. This is the one that we just created, and we need to create two subscriptions. Let's start by the first one. Then I'm gonna call account subscription. This is the one that is gonna be using the channel for the account, and the next one is the history, also for the history channel. Max delivery count. This is an option. This one indicates how many times the message is gonna be tried to deliver before passing the message to an error queue or error storage. And some other options like auto deleting, message sessions, message time to leave, and dead lettering, message like duration. We don't need any of these right now. For more information, you just need to go to the Azure Service Bus and search for each option. But we don't need any of these, so I'm just gonna create it like this. The other subscription that I'm gonna create is also the history subscription. I'm creating. Yes. So we created the Azure Service Bus. We created the channel, the subscription where the message is gonna be being stored. And the next step is to actually setting up the message sender and the message receiver. For that, let's go to our application. Let's start about the transaction microservice. Before that, let's go and set up all the configurations in our app config. Let's go to the app config. Configuration Explorer. Let's create a new one. New key value. And I already have all the keys. This is our configuration string to enter to the service bus. So copy this one. Let's create a new one. This is gonna be the names of our subscription and topics. Topic. One or description. It is the account. Okay, account description. And lastly, the history. Okay, so let's go to the transaction service, history, account, security, and transaction. So the first thing is that we need to add a new package. I already have it, but let me show you which one is it. Is the Microsoft Azure Service Messaging Service Bus. This is the one that is going to allow us to communicate with the service bus. Once you install this one, you're going to be able to set it up. So the first thing is that we need to go to messages. We create this interface to publish messages. The method is gonna receive a message that is a type object that is gonna be serialized to send it to the service bus. So this can be any type of object. That's why I'm using object, and it's gonna return if the transaction or the publishing message transaction is complete. The next one is we need the event bus class. Is gonna implement the event bus, and this is the one that is gonna be in charge of publishing the message. So the first thing you can see here is we are injecting the configuration to set it up. Some configurations that we just add to our Azure app configuration, the ones that we set up here. That's why we add them here. And let's go back. So we are getting So we're sending the object that we want to send to the service bus first. Then we set up the client, the service bus, using the 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 connection string that we got from when we set up the service bus. The next one, we're gonna use set up the subscription. As you can see, we're getting here the name of the transaction subscription that we add in this configuration. Then we're just gonna send the message using the message patch, service bus message patch. Send the message, and we just dispose the send and the client. In this case, we just return true. Okay, then this is everything that we need to send messages to the service bus, and each time we need to send a message, we just inject the event bus. For that, let's go to the program CS. It's already here. I thought it was commented. So we make sure that we're gonna inject the event bus, and lastly we go to the controller to make sure that we're gonna send the correct message to the service bus. So the first thing is that we inject the event bus here, and each time we make a deposit or a withdraw, we are gonna send the message, the transaction, to the event bus. So the only thing we need to do here is uncomment this line, and we need to add it here also. Section 1, the same one, and that's it. We can test this. So let's run the application, make sure that everything works as expected. So we didn't have any error. Let's check it out if it works by sending a transaction. So let's create one deposit. Okay, it worked. Let's create another one. Free deposit. So it should be creating 3 messages in the subscription. So to see it, let's go to the Azure Service Bus, to our topic, let's go to the transaction topic, and let's go to the subscription, account subscription. So as you can see, we have the 3 messages in each of our subscription. Why? What is that? Let's go back here. So the publisher, that now is the transaction service, is sending the message to the topic, and the topic is sending the message to each one of the subscription. Now the messages are stored in each subscription, and in order to consume those messages from each subscription, we need to have a subscriber that is gonna be subscribed to the subscription and consume the message for each one of the subscription. In this case, we have 2, and we're gonna be setting up one to read the message from the subscription 1, and another one for the subscription 2. in our diagram. This is the case where the account microservice is gonna be reading the message from their own subscription. So let's continue with that part. Let's go to the account. Security, history, account. Okay, the next step for the account microservice. How we're gonna be doing this? There is a concept that is called hosted services. Hosted services are just background services services running in the background, and that's what we're gonna be doing. If you wanna know more about it, I have already a topic about this one in my blog that is called hosted services in .NET Core. This is just background services as I described. There's gonna be a timer, and this timer is gonna be executing this hosted service. Which is gonna be the task, the one that is gonna be the hosted service is gonna be executing each how can I say this? So the account microservice is gonna have a background service that is gonna be going to the Azure Service Bus and ask them if they have messages to read. That's how it's gonna be working. So in this case, the account microservice is gonna be in charge of going and read the message. When we set up the Azure function, this is not gonna work like that. This is gonna be more. This is the polling. Each time you go and check if the message is there. But for the Azure function, is gonna work differently. Each time the message goes to the Azure Service Bus, is gonna send an event with the message to the Azure Service Bus. So, sorry, so to the Azure function. So in this case, we're gonna not be waiting for the message to be read. In this case, the Azure Service Bus is gonna be sending the message as soon as it gets it. So, but this is gonna be another task. Right now, we're gonna just focus on the account service. So let's go to the account service. And the first thing that we need to do is to create the background service. So this is the background service. Everything that it does is just to execute a background task. This one, as you see, is using the iHosted service. That is a Microsoft extension to create background hosted services. This is gonna everything that it does here is just to execute a background task, and that's it. We are not doing anything else. The second thing we need to do is that we need to have another class that is gonna be implementing the background service. I already have it here. What is happening here is that we're injecting some the I configuration again, so we and the iService Bus client also. So what we're doing here is just the same thing, like connecting to the service bus using the connection string that we got when we set up the service bus. Using the service client, we are saying to which topic we are gonna be connected and which subscription we are gonna be reading the message of. We have some configuration here that autocomplete message. It means that when I read the message from my subscription, it is not gonna be it is not gonna delete the message until I say it was read successfully. Because if not, it is set up to true. It might read the message, it might fail, and I lost the message. So with this one, I'm making sure that when my transaction is complete, reading the message and saving it to my database or everything that I need to do. After I finish, I'm gonna say to the service bus and exactly to the subscription that delete the message. And this is the execute async. This is the background task, and it is saying that it will show, it should run always while we are not sending the cancellation token. What else? It is sleeping for 15 seconds, so this is gonna be running each 15 seconds. And this is the task that is gonna be running. Start processing. And lastly, the message handler. This is the one that is going to be processing the message. We first read the message. We deserialize the message that we send. In this case, is a transaction response. And lastly, we save the information in our account. And basically that's it. No more to say. One thing that we need to do is to register the hosted services in our program CS. Let's go here. Let's register our hosted service. There's gonna be running each 15 seconds. And let's just test our background service. The first thing is that we're gonna be the one thing that I forgot to mention is when I complete the saving into my database, now I can send the message to the subscription to say, hey, it was complete the message, everything is fine, just delete the message from the subscription. So let's create a breakpoint here. To make sure everything works. Once this line is complete, we should be seeing on our subscription that the message was deleted. Okay, it's gonna read the first one. So let's go to our subscription, account subscription. Okay, let's refresh. We still have 3 messages in our account subscription. And the next step is we already read the message. Now we're just waiting for me to say, hey, I read it, delete it. So let's complete this one. Oh, there was another. Okay, completed. No, it worked. There has to be something else. It worked. Let's go to the subscription. Let's refresh this. And we already read the 3 messages. This should be because I didn't set up the subscription to read just message by message. It's gonna be taking the whole messages to process. That's why it read the 3 ones. Let me go to the account subscription. But okay, well, as we see, it is working. I just need to find the setting so we can just read message by message instead of reading the whole subscription queue. But actually, and yeah, that's it for this part. We created Azure Service Bus, we created the topic, the subscription, and the subscriptors. Well, in this case, the publisher, and we created the subscriptor, and that was it for this part.